This is Baruch Fleischman of the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I apologize for the mistakes that I made yesterday in terms of the shiuring on Rabbi Mimran. If I actually did skip a shiur, I would do it again. I think that what I made a mistake was I did 29 before I did 28, and that was a mistake, so I went back and did number 28. So then I called number 28. I don't know what I did, but I just got mixed up, and I decided just forget 28 or whichever one. And if I'm missing the shiur, that's the important part. I can remake it. This is a really beautiful piece of Torah right here. I'm just amazed by the things that Rabbi Mimran says over here, because it's such pretty stuff. Let's read what we have here. It's a real nice thought. Just a comment about myself is that, I'm really trying to do this some. I'm not in real big trouble. We've had plenty of trouble around, and that's where I think about it, is when there's trouble in conference, how do I get myself out of it? And here's a guy coming along, has a background in psychology, and here's a guy coming along to give you practical steps. And practical steps is really the main thing. How to work on your thinking. It's just a tremendous, tremendous thing. So I was going to say that I'm working around now, and one of the shiurim that I got out of order, but I think the first one, which is one should have been 28, this shiur really talked about, if you're thinking, you find yourself thinking about the future or thinking about the past, stop. I do this all the time. Now, there's times when you need to think about the future, think about the past, because there are practical things you have to do, and this is Olam Asiya, the world of action. But on the other hand, they get carried away, and you start making illusions on illusions and fantasies out of fantasies of what if this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. You go around and around. This is our problem. Now let's see what Rabbi Mimran says here. And this is really a nice little thing. He says prophecy and joy. This is part 7. He says the Torah specifically promises, I started in the wrong place. We have explained in this chapter the essence of the concept of love. Its essence is the tying together and oneness of the creations with each other through its inner soul. Let me read that word again. He says what is love is the ability, I would say the ability or the actual fact, he says, of tying together and coming, in other words, coming to a dveikus and a oneness, all of the creations with each other. This is called yichud. This is what the Zohar and the Kabbalah is talking about all the time. Taking opposites or things that don't fit together and making them together. Similarly, a man cannot truly love Hashem except through his soul. So I'm assuming that what Rabbi Mimran sees as the most important part of these statements is that the connection should be through the inner soul. So we have to find that. So let's see what he's talking about here. The Torah specifically promises that all the blessings will be filled through a service accompanied by joy. That's a kind of a funny statement or a sentence the way it goes, but I guess he means that when you serve Hashem, it should be accompanied by joy. Why is that? Chazal also tell us that Ruach HaKodesh, the power of prophecy, would only reside on a prophet who is in a state of utter joy and happiness. We find the opposite with Yaakov Avinu, that his Ruach HaKodesh was taken away through the extensive mourning for his son Yosef. Why should joy be so intrinsic to connecting to Hashem through prophetic powers? When you have a prophecy, you want to be able to see what's going on in the world. You have to be happy. And remember, Mimran has been telling us is that a lot of the unhappiness that we feel is from this emotional ego within ourselves. We have to learn to watch it, and to listen to it and pay attention. But that payer of attention, it's a higher level already. The answer is that the doorway to accessing prophecy is the same as that of the spiritual realm, which is the same as accessing the powers of your own soul. Now let's read it again. The answer is the doorway to accessing prophecy. You want to see beyond. It's the same as that of the spiritual realm. if you want to really be submerged in the Ruach HaKodesh, don't just say the Ruach of Hashem. We're to get involved in Ruach, which is the same as accessing the powers of your own soul. He says the doorway is only visible when in a state of total stillness of mind, therefore allowing you to transcend the material to join the spiritual. Again, another statement. When you are in a state of stillness of mind, so that your emotional ego is not going back and forth, back and forth. You can't see, because all you could do is feel the emotions of that back and forth. But when your mind comes to a state of stillness, it allows you to transcend the material, to join the spiritual, to go beyond the immediate circumstances of the struggle of life. The purity of focus comes when one is at peace with oneself. The state of joy is not only a way to access that stillness and peace of mind, but more importantly, it also intensifies it. It intensifies it immensely, giving it power and energy. Now, I was concerned about one phrase here. Maybe you would think something else. He said the purity of focus comes when one is at peace with oneself. So Rabbi Mimran has been saying all along that the peace that one finds is by the ability to be able to divorce himself from his emotional ego. Not an easy thing to do, but something that we could practice, especially if we're in pain and our thoughts are giving us the pain. Let's look at the little blurb that he has at the bottom. And he says the doorway to accessing prophecy is only visible, that is the door. You can only see the way in a state of total stillness of mind, therefore allowing you to transcend the material to join the spiritual. That's the shiur over here, part 7. We're going to call this shiur number 31, and I'll try to keep better track of where I'm at. This is Baruch Fleischman for the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and saying the shiur also on the Vegas channel with Rabbi Mimran.